Okay, now let's talk a little bit about top spin, okay, on our shots. And essentially, remember when we're talking about spin, we are speaking about basic top spin is low to high. That's what you really, really have to remember as your priority. Just like slice, what we're talking about is your contact. The contact on the paddle when it ball hits the paddle, that's your biggest priority to pay attention to. Okay, that's what sets us up for success consistently. Okay, so when we're talking about our basic forehand in pickleball, what's beautiful about it is here is my forehand, okay, for a right-hander. This is in front of me. Now, from here to here, this is all forehand space. So as long as the ball is in front of my body, I'm able to create this forehand situation. Now, if I'm a left-handed player, that's going to be the difference, okay? So it's not really anything different in a sense of paddle preparation. That's the great, awesome thing about pickleball. Forehand, forehand, okay? It's the exact same thing, okay? And what we're really looking at is, on average, most dinks, let's say, are going to have a top spin, okay? And the reason is we're making contact below the net and usually lifting our shots. So there's our low to high motion, okay? One thing that I see so much is players are trying to cock like this with the wrist and kind of pulling it from that position. So what's important about being able to create topspin from out in front of you, okay, is having your grip, your index fingers and your thumb are really what is stabilizing the paddle, okay? What this does is enable the paddle tip to be going forward. Now, if my fingers are compressed and they're close like this, look what my wrist naturally does. Okay, so it's going to end up pulling, hyperextending, hurting my elbow essentially. Now, this is what I see a lot of people do. And yes, it does create topspin, but what often happens is it goes into the net. It's not consistent because we're not able to maintain that consistently. So if I'm able to use my fingers, this is really the trick, okay, to creating a third shot drop, topspin, low to high, or a dink. Any of that, that's where that momentum is going to be coming from. Okay, so it's not here, it's actually here. Now, if I'm hitting my backhand, okay, that's a little bit more difficult for players with a one-hander, okay, with that grip without changing it, because again, we're dropping the wrist, okay, and we're stabilizing and going low to high. It's really got to be a loose motion. Okay, now you do see a lot of players that, let's say, come from tennis to racket sports. We're used to hitting topspin from this side or from this side, so it's a very different situation. If I'm on a tennis court, my contact is here, and I'm lifting up on the ball from here. Okay, same thing here and lifting up. So it's almost like you're shaping the ball, okay, in that arcing motion. The difference is where our contact point is, okay? So yes, it's possible to do it from here, especially what a lot of players are going to hit it with two hands, is it makes it easier for them to go over and brush up on the ball. It takes a lot more mechanics, lower body and rotation when you're hitting it from there. If you're really kind of looking from a one-hander with the same grip, okay, it's a really opening and closing the paddle. All right, now you do have some players who are going to adjust their grip over for a backhand if they have a one-hander, okay, and it's going to turn a little bit like this angle, and what that's doing is enabling the ball to go over the paddle a little bit easier with it still being out in front of you. So I do sometimes, because I dominantly hit a one-handed backhand instead of a two, I do adjust my grip when I have the time. If I'm hitting a high backhand volley because I'm bringing it and hitting topspin down on the shot, not always, so I can't stress that enough. Okay, very often I've got to be able to create that same shot with the exact same grip. Okay, so it is doable. It's just depending on the position, the placement of the ball, where some players might make an adjustment. If I'm up at the non-volley line and I really want to get under and hit a brushing up on the ball, that's difficult to do, okay? So I can do the same things by just adjusting my fingers and my wrist and lifting up on the ball. That will generate a lot of the motion for you. So when I take a look at like what a ball is doing, Okay, what we're doing is we're brushing, we're going low to high. So if that ball's coming at you towards the camera, it's now spinning towards you like this, okay? What that's doing now is when it lands, it's going to be going in a downward motion. So when you're dinking, let's say with a topspin motion, that really puts a lot of pressure onto your opponent's side of the court, okay? A lot of players are mostly just kind of doing little pushes. They're not really extending through their shots. The extension is really important because that's what creates our spin, our follow through, that length on the ball. Whereas most players are ending up just kind of pushing the ball instead of actually extending through. So contact and extension, those are the real big ones that we're trying to recognize when we're striking that ball. Okay, and all I'm going to do is just kind of take this ball and just kind of show you what my position is right here. Okay, so I'm going here and up. So my wrist is kind of loose, but it's really letting my finger kind of guide the paddle. I really want to make sure I'm not doing this. So I really don't want the wrist to snap where I can feel it right in this area. Okay, I want it nice from my shoulder where I'm lifting up on the ball. So I'm going to have my partner kind of just toss me the ball so you can kind of see. Here's basic motion. Okay, there's my contact, there's my strike. And I'm just going to take a couple kind of in the air. Okay, so here's the little tight to me, no worries though. Okay, so I'm going to go right and lift, lift. Okay, so it's a very minimal motion. Okay, and that's creating topspin. So I'm not doing a lot of excess on the ball. This is the big bonus when you make contact with a dink in the air. So when you're dinking in the air, that angle is actually what's creating your spin. Okay, it doesn't need to be a lot of excess motion. What we're really doing is catching the ball at the angle that we want, and that little adjustment with our lower body, that's lifting it for us. Okay, so that's naturally going to happen. Another reason why we want to have the habit of dinking in the air, it creates so many more opportunities for us and better habits overall. So we'll take a look at some of those shots.